Welcome in to week number 11 of 2 Minute Drill. I'm your host, RJ Rice, here alongside me, Brett Berner, Braden Laszlo, Dom Brusco, and Delbert McDermott. Guys, let's get into our first piece of news. The New York Giants pulled the plug on the Brian Daboll era. They fire him after a 2-8 start. I want to make sure I get his record right because his record was honestly pretty garbage. I believe, 20, 40, and 1 tie?
Something like that.
I believe that was a long – I was trying to find it in here. But
I know John Doucette probably has that.
Yeah, he probably has it there somewhere. He won 2022 Coach of the Year, and after going somehow 9-7-1, and actually won that playoff game with Danny Dimes against Minnesota. It has not been sunshine and rainbows over there in MetLife. So Daboll did get fired. Yep, his record was 20, 40, and 1. His winning percentage is actually behind Ben McAdoo. Fun fact. That kind of just shows you the tenure. But I know we have mixed opinions in this room, so I won't delay it any further. How do we feel about the Giants firing Brian Daboll?
Honestly, yeah, I think this is crucial to Jackson Dart's development. I think when they honestly, in my opinion, when they named him the starter, I thought Daboll that was a saving grace for Daboll's job. I thought that they were going to at least keep him to the end of the season. Regarding just Jackson Dart coming in at QB, taking over for Russell Wilson. But I think the thing that killed it, me and Brett were talking about it earlier, was how many games he sold. Obviously, we know the Broncos game, that it was that 19-point comeback that they had in the fourth quarter, blowout against the Eagles. They had a lead against, or not really a lead against 49ers, but this most recent game against the Bears, where they were up 20-10 in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden they lost that game 24-20 as Caleb Williams kind of got a comeback going for them. I think I'm excited to see what Jackson Dart does or how the play calling changes for him with Brian Daboll kind of out of that seat now, and they're going to have to kind of reset at that coaching and see where the Giants go from here.
Yeah, I kind of said this on Stirring the Pot, but I feel like this decision to let go of Brian Daboll was very ignorant by the Giants organization. I mean, look at the Denver game. If that kicker would have made that field goal, they probably could have walked away with a win. Yes, Denver had momentum. They've choked in a few games so far this season, but I feel like this is going to ruin the development of this team. You bring in so many young guys. I mean, I'm aware that Malik Neighbors is in his second year. You have Cam Scatterbo going. You have Jackson Dart in his rookie year. He's balling out. I mean, things are starting to look up for this franchise, for this organization. Daboll was starting to turn around. At least this year, it looked actually fun to watch this team play. I'm not going to lie. It was actually very entertaining, unlike the previous few years. And yes, his record didn't look that great, but he did take them to there was that one year where Danny Dimes had that Linsanity run, made it into the playoffs. He looked good then. I mean, I feel like this was a wrong decision because now you got to get a new coach. You got to get a new coach. You got to install a new culture, and that could end up, setting them back a little bit. I feel like this organization was just too impatient. They decided to pull. They were a little bit trigger happy. Decided to pull that trigger, let Brian Daboll go. I feel like they're going to regret this one in a few years from now. But Braden, what's your scoop on this?
I'm in the camp of, in favor of this firing. I think that Brian Daboll kind of held this team back in some aspects. Obviously, no excuse to lose that Broncos game, and especially this Bears game this past Sunday. I know they were ahead in most of that game and then eventually gave up the lead within the last quarter. But I think that Brian Daboll being fired is honestly a good thing for Jackson Dart's development. Obviously, you kind of want to bring in a rookie and a head coach duo, let that develop a little bit. But at the same time, I think it was the right choice. Obviously, that 2022 year, right, with the win over the Vikings in the playoffs was a very magical moment for Brian Daboll and the New York Giants. But since then, absolutely nothing has been accomplished. So I think it's the right move here, and I think that not only will the organization, but especially Jackson Dart, if you find a good offensive mind in this next coaching cycle, can really unlock that potential with this offense.
If Jackson Dart doesn't get concussed against the Bears, is Daboll fired still? That's my question.
I mean, he's already been evaluated for a ton.
So you've been evaluating him. So what if the Giants win? It's just you're good. What, would they still fire him after the game?
I mean, there's still questions because they were going to let up lead regardless, or let up some points in the fourth quarter regardless.
That's what I always think about, like, in these scenarios. Like, if this one butterfly effect wouldn't have happened, is he still the coach if Dart doesn't get concussed? But overall, I agree with you guys. I think this is the right move. It's a tough move by New York, but it's eventually right. My kind of direction is, where do they go? That's always when you fire the head coach. Now you have the rest of the season to try and continue development of your team, get ready for next year. But now you've got a new coach coming in. What's the direction? Is this new coach going to want to try and fire sale? This Giants roster is pretty complete. The defense is overall good. The offense now with star power, obviously, with your star running back and receivers both hurt, but hopefully they'll be back at some point next year. What do you do? Is this a full enter rebuild? Is this a 1-year gap and you're going all in the summer? New York is in a weird scenario right now because you've got your guy at quarterback. You've got a solid defense with a lot of talent, but maybe it's time to move some of those guys off the defense and retool around that offense. But Neighbors, who knows when he's going to be back next year? Cam Scatteraboo, who knows when he's going to be back next year? This offensive line still needs a major rework. But who is going to be the next Giants head man? Do they look at coordinators? Do you go after maybe a old retired head coach? Maybe do you look down to the college level? I think this is a very interesting job. It's a weird one because it's a big market like New York, but as much as you're under the lights, you're also under the scrutiny, and it'll be interesting to see what the Giants do.
Yeah, I will be very curious to see what the New York Giants do. And obviously, I think both of these sides has a proper argument you can say. And obviously, past the 2022 year, and obviously with Daniel Jones not really looking the best. I mean, the New York Giants were always kind of looking for that answer at quarterback, especially after letting Saquon go. That's kind of where a lot of people saw this downfall of New York really fully start to take, I guess, its full effect. There's obviously in the news saying that Spagnuolo could potentially be a replacement. We don't even know if he's fully interested in the job. It's kind of now at this point, I mean, we're at week 11. We're at the point to where you can kind of see who's going to make the playoffs, who's not. I mean, even other coaches who may even get fired towards the end of the year, even maybe Kevin Stefanski, you might even see depending on what happens there in Cleveland. I'd be really curious to see. But Mike Kafka will take over Daboll's job. He is the assistant head coach and offensive coordinator, so he will now take over the reins. And Jameis Winston will be starting in their next upcoming game. We'll kind of get into a tiny bit of that into the next segment. But Joe Schoen is keeping his job, and I'll kind of go run around the room one more time with that because depending on where you stand on his case, I mean, I think giving him another chance is validated, especially with this past draft class getting obviously Jackson Dart and seeing that development. And I know Daboll even kind of hardly pushed for him as well with that trade with the Rams back in last year's draft. But I'll send it around the room. Do we also think Schoen should have joined Daboll in getting fired, or should he still be there as he is right now?
I think it should have been the opposite way around. I think Schoen should have been fired before Daboll, honestly, because I'm just remembering all of the key players that Schoen has let go for the Giants in his tenure. Two of the most obvious in recent years is Xavier McKinney and Saquon Barkley. And then I think he kind of redeemed himself with this past offseason, having good signings like Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland, as well as the good draft class that RJ mentioned. But I really just I feel like it's inevitable at some point that if you don't have a good head coaching hire, then Schoen is probably going to be out of there as well.
Yeah, I kind of think it should have been – well, I don't think Schoen should have been fired. I feel like he's kind of redeemed himself as the past few years have been. I mean, those decisions that you just said, DJ, that he made. But this team has gotten better, and there's a lot more quality here. I mean, you have to consider, too, within the division, of course you're always going to have Philly at the top, but now the Giants beat Philly this year. And they're actually competing now against their teams in their division. Last year, you couldn't have the same story. So I feel like, well, once again, I didn't believe that Daboll should have been fired. I don't think that Schoen should have been fired. Schoen should be fired either. You should have kept it as is, but unfortunately, they were a little bit. They let it get to their head, and they wanted to win now, and that's not the answer. But Braden, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Schoen should be fired. I mean, you look at this roster, obviously it's not top tier in the NFL, but it's very, very serviceable, especially on the defensive side of the ball. That defensive line, you could honestly, on paper, put up against anybody in the league, and I think the Giants have a solid case to be one of those top defensive lines in the NFL. But I do think that this draft class definitely helped saved his job, but losing key pieces like Saquon Barkley, then winning a Super Bowl the year right after with the division rival definitely stings. And also Xavier McKinney now on the Green Bay Packers with the year he had last year and his impact just being out there on the defense. So I do see both sides to this, but I do think that this roster really shouldn't be 2-8 right now. I really don't.
Sorry, I was texting Matt. He said he might be a little bit late to the second segment. But I don't know. This has been my coin toss decision is I think they made the right move of getting rid of Daboll. Do you want to start fresh with complete new, management and get rid of Schoen? I don't think that Joe Schoen has made all necessarily the wrong moves. I think the Saquon Barkley move is completely blown out of the water. Me personally, yes, it's tough to let go of that superstar guy, but I am also in the boat. You look at Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley last year. Running backs are expandable. Nobody has ever said, man, the Kansas City Chiefs have a really good running back. That's why it's a revolving door every single year. You wonder why Kareem Hunt is getting more carries than Isaiah Pacheco in this offense. Running backs are not that important in the NFL. They don't deserve that much money. You look at Saquon this year. He had the amazing season last year, but look what it took to get there. All of these carries, excellent offensive line play. Jonathan Taylor, he has always been this good of a running back, but just because Taylor now is on MVP watch doesn't mean that next season he's going to be able to continue that production. So I don't think the move for Saquon is necessarily that bad. I'm fine with keeping Schoen around, but it's a short lease, and I think it's just a tough spot for a GM to be in because now your seat's hot and you've got a lot to deal with.
Yeah, I think with John Mara especially, he wants to see that success. And I think ever since the post-Tom Coughlin era for the New York Giants, it's kind of been looking for that next, ability for sustained success. And I think for the New York Giants, they will be in search of that again. Now, where they go in direction with coaching, I think will be very interesting because there's, like we said before, not necessarily that, here's that top candidate that's fully there. I mean, also believe Jeff Hafley, your guy, the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, will definitely be on their radar. I think it'll be very interesting to see how they go about that. But we will now switch to some of the other games that happened this week. Now, I know a lot of these guys have more information than me because Sunday I was covering West Virginia men's soccer's quarterfinal game, so I know they can kind of give me some more insight on these games. But our first game will cover the Seattle Seahawks, casually dropping a 44 bomb at home against the Arizona Cardinals by a final of 44-22. Seattle is 7-2, and this Seattle team is really good. And they also added Rashid Shaheed, as we mentioned last week during our trade deadline edition that we had for our first segment. But I'll kind of bring it around the room. For this Seattle Seahawks team, my goodness, they are so legit and they have so many offensive weapons. It's just so fun to watch.
Dude, I mean, you look at their offense, it's electric, but then you look at their defense as well, and the pressure is crazy. I mean, I was working the men's basketball game last Sunday against Lehigh, and I got out of the game, and I saw it was 9 minutes left in the second quarter, and the Seahawks were up 35-0. It was insane. I remember seeing that. I was just baffled. But this team is just crazy. I mean, it looks really bad on the Vikings for letting Sam Darnold go because he looked really good in the Vikings system last year, and he looks even better in the Seahawks system this year. I think one of the biggest things is this Seattle Seahawks draft class. Gray Zabel, their first-round pick out of North Dakota State, has played phenomenal, and their offensive line has played phenomenal regardless. Nick Emenwari has been a phenomenal safety. He has blitzed a ton for the Seahawks defense. And then also Torrey Horton, a little bit of a steal in the fifth round there. Has caught a couple touchdowns and returned a couple punts, 4 touchdowns for the Seahawks team. But they seem legit. They seem like they are firing on all cylinders. And JSN is the league leader in receiving yards. So I mean, I don't know what's going to stop them. I'm really excited for our pick'ems because Seahawks versus Rams is going to be cinema at the 4 o'clock slate. But yeah, the Seahawks are looking legit.
Yeah, a quick fact about about JSN. He has more receiving yards this season than the entirety of the Cleveland Browns wide receivers, and the
Fork Fountain Kitchen,
and
much?
all the Jets wide receivers, not combined, but just as a group within those teams. So that speaks a little bit of volume, even though both of those teams don't really pass the ball a lot.
They're also really bad.
Yeah, I mean, Justin.
Like really bad.
For perspective, Justin Fields has about he'll average about 10 passing yards a game, but that's just, mediocrity in itself. Actually worse, more like a dumpster fire. But this Seattle team, I mean, they've proved why they're the top of the NFC. I mean, the NFC West is a tough division as it is. You're going to see a lot of teams within the NFC West and NFC North bouncing in and out of the playoffs. I mean, some teams are even going to get left out with winning records. There's a few teams are going to be disrespected this year, but NFC football is always fun to watch. This Seattle team has been firing on all cylinders. I mean, you talk about the definition, another man's trash is another man's treasure. You've seen that a lot, this story play out a lot with either Baker Mayfield. You've seen it with Daniel Jones. Now you see it with Sam Darnold. I mean, Sam Darnold joined, what is this now, his 8th year in the league? I believe so. It's close to,
and he's only like 25.
Yeah, you're starting to see this experience that he had going through these garbage teams such as the Panthers, not the Vikings. Can't discredit the Vikings. Good team.
The Jets.
I was about to say the Jets.
The Jets. Or he was a San Fran backup for a minute, but I mean, he had that perfect game against the Commanders. JSN has been clicking. Zach Charbonnet, for some reason, gets carries, but still gets touchdowns over Kenneth Walker, who deserves to get those touchdowns. I know that he's a big waiver tango topic every week, but this Seattle team really they've outdone my. I kind of set the bar low for them this year. I did not know that Sam Darnold had this kind of potential in him. I knew that JSN was going to ball out somewhat, but I did not know that Sam Darnold was still going to live out that. This is no longer an insanity run from Minnesota. He actually has what it takes to be a quality starter. But Braden, give me your thoughts on this.
I love what you said, DJ, about this defense, and it comes down to Mike Macdonald. Obviously, Ravens assistant for a while, then obviously D coordinator at Michigan, really turned that defense around over there in Ann Arbor, and then rehired by the Ravens for a defensive coordinator position. He was actually the defensive coordinator for the team that made the AFC Championship against the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Seahawks made a great hire when hiring Mike Macdonald. I think that defensive-minded head coaches in the NFL really turn out to build great teams because they know defenses win championships, especially in a division like this, where there's so much offensive firepower all around in this division, like the Niners, the Rams, the Cardinals even, I guess, with Jacoby Brissett, not Kyler Murray. But I do think that Mike Macdonald is the driver for this team's success, and Sam Darnold has really been that piece that they've been missing for the past couple years now. And shout out JSN, Ohio State receiver, leads the league in receiving yards this season, so it's been really exciting to see his growth and development, and then all the guys around him, like Cooper Kupp, Rashid Shaheed, which was an amazing pickup at the deadline. It's awesome to see the Seahawks team finally come to fruition and Mike Macdonald really get his flowers as the head man in Seattle.
Yeah, at Seattle, they're on the up. McDonald's look great for the defense as the head coach. Clint Kubiak has done just as much for this offense. He's got a lot of toys to work with, and he's done just amazing things for the Seahawks' defense. I mean, Leonard Williams in this game had 2 touchdowns. The big man was rumbling around, but
Lawrence.
Dexter Lawrence.
DeMarcus
Lawrence. Not sexy Dexy. Leonard Williams, dude. He was a Seahawks legend. Sorry, reliving the glory days. But I'm going to talk about the Cardinals for a sec. This is bad. Kyler Murray is out of there. He is no longer going to be an Arizona Cardinal. This year's over. I think you'd look at firing Jonathan Gannon. He does not have what it takes to be a head coach in the NFL. His system has been terrible. Murray is awful. The short quarterback is never going to work in the NFL. He cannot see over his offensive line. Batted down passes. He's only getting older, which means the one thing that separated him, his athletic ability and his legs, are only going to get worse. Marvin Harrison Jr., who I thought was the biggest, going to be a bona fide superstar in the NFL, does like one highlight play a game and then does nothing else for the rest of it. His dad's complaining, sorry, Papa Marv, but your son does not have it in the NFL apparently. He was the best receiver I've ever seen at Ohio State. But, I mean, it's just a dumpster fire for Arizona. They're trending in that water of they're a little bit above the Jets and the Browns and the Saints as like god-awful teams, like nobody wants to be a part of them. But the Cardinals are kind of getting there.
Yeah, honestly, they are getting to that point where you have to do a lot of soul searching, especially when reports are coming out for Arizona that they will be having extensive conversations about the future of Kyler Murray in an Arizona Cardinals uniform. It's gotten down to be a problem. But for Seattle's sake. They're looking really great. Mike McDonald is loving it, and honestly, I can't blame him. He's being set up for a lot of success, and he's being a really great head coach in the NFL, and I think he's one of those underappreciated guys, so I think he deserves a lot of that shout as well. But Seattle will be especially in that next segment, as DJ mentioned, that NFC West showdown will be great to watch. But let's talk about an upset. Now, if you were to tell me last week, it would be last Sunday, that the Miami Dolphins would put 30 points and beat the Bills by double digits, I probably would have looked at you like you were nuts. I probably would have looked at you like Don Bruschko usually looks at John after stirring the pot take, because usually you just can't believe it was said. But the Miami Dolphins ended up beating the Buffalo Bills by a final of 30-13. Tua went 15 for 21, 2 touchdowns, did have 2 picks, but you know what? A win's a win. Devon Achane went off having 2 touchdowns on the ground and over 170 yards rushing. And obviously Jalen Waddle had that touchdown. Thank you for doing that, because he was in my flex spot. So obviously appreciated that for fantasy value. But I'll send it around the room. For the Buffalo Bills, does this scare you at all? I mean, obviously it has to put some fear in you, but for Miami, I mean, does this show that Mike McDaniel really potentially end up keeping his job after all?
Yeah, no, this shocked me too. I mean, I'm sorry for everybody in any survivor pools who decided to pick the Bills over the Dolphins this week. But it's just, if Jonathan Taylor didn't exist, Devon Achane would have been the best running back this week. He did phenomenal. 22 carries, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, along with 6 receptions for 51 yards. He was the main playmaker. But I'm so worried about Buffalo right now. And I think the biggest regret that they should have is not trading for a number 1 wide receiver at the deadline. You saw the weeks before, obviously Josh Allen, one of, if not the best quarterbacks in the league, he doesn't have that number 1 playmaker that he used to have with Stephon Diggs. I feel like they connected well, and he just spreads the ball out a ton. I mean, Khalil Shakir had 7 receptions for 58 yards. Keon Coleman, 3 receptions for 46 yards and a touchdown. But, I mean, I feel like it's really hurting this team that there's not a number 1 wide receiver, and it really doesn't help when your offense goes scoreless through 3 quarters. They lost 30-13. All 13 of those points were in the 4th quarter. They were losing at halftime 16-0. I mean, I don't know really what to say about this Bills team, but it's really worrying, because I think a big thing about this team was their defense, and if their defense really can't step up when Josh Allen isn't playing his best, then this team isn't going to be competitive, especially with how well the Patriots have looked this season.
Yeah, this game kind of made me upset because, again, this kind of helps Mike McDaniel's case out. And me personally, I really kind of want to see him leave, but because he just doesn't bring – I don't know. To me, he doesn't seem like a coach that really disciplines his team or brings a culture to the Miami Dolphins. I feel like this was just a game where the Buffalo Bills kind of had a fluke. Though, DJ, you did kind of mention a point that if Josh Allen isn't performing, at 100%, basically Buffalo is doomed and they're going to lose the game. They really should invest in more pieces on the offense. Their offense is a lot comparable to the Green Bay Packers. You have a lot, specifically this wide receiver core. You have a lot of the same. And, Brett, I know you overreacted a little bit there, but you're going to say Khalil Shakir. And yes, he is kind of a bright spot there. You're going to say Dalton Kincaid. They're kind of similar, but it's the fact that you have such a wide spread of targets. You go to Curtis Samuel, you go to Joshua Palmer, and it's just like you spread it to all these different people. It's not as productive as when you had Stephon Diggs in there. And I remember that one, or they're not using, I remember when Dawson Knox used to be one of the prime targets. He's just one of those so-so candidates, participant that'll get the ball every now and then. I mean, I think, if James Cook isn't going as well, then the game's, considerably over. I feel like they're a little bit scared right now because of New England's potential and how they shot up like that through the division. But they need to retool a little bit. But this team, it's only 1 week, but they can bounce back the next week. But it all comes down to how well can Josh Allen play, which is unfortunate. I know he is the MVP. But, Braden, what's your thoughts on this?
Oh, my. We're kind of seeing a theme here in all these wins for the Dolphins. Obviously, there's only 3 of them. But you look at the Falcons game, they only held Bijan Robinson to 25 rushing yards. And that was a key factor in that 24-point blowout of the Falcons. And then they did the similar things here with James Cook. He only had 53 yards on 13 carries. So when this Miami Dolphins defense can stop the run and kind of make offenses one-dimensional, they are really, really competitive. And if Tua can at least throw for 2 touchdowns, obviously had the 2 interceptions, but if he can at least try to drive this offense a little bit, and with help with Devon Achane, this Miami Dolphins team is competitive in almost every game that they stop the run in. But that's very far and few between. But it was really impressive showing from that Miami Dolphins defense.
No, Dom, the reason I freaked out was because I thought you were going to put Jordan Love anywhere near Josh Allen, which
Absolutely
would be
not.
No.
I knew where he was going with the
No,
wide
it's
receiver.
just
The wide
like-
receiver-
yeah.
Name, insert, put place receiver's name. This is the guy who's going to get the ball.
And the Dolphins, this means nothing to me. They're not going to do anything this year. Kickball dad is the Dolphins are 2-0 when kickball dad's in attendance. If you know, you know. But the Bills, this is the red flag. This team, one, I don't think they're going to win the division anymore. I think you still had hope. I think the Patriots have one of the easiest schedules left in the NFL, and they have a deathlock on this division. So I think New England is actually going to win the AFC. What is it, the East?
Yeah,
AFC East. But Buffalo, man, this offense is not good. The defense is hurt, and it just hasn't been working. I understand. But I don't know what in the world happened to Joe Brady. And Josh Allen is great. This offensive line is struggling. They have no wide receiver help on the outside. Keon Coleman has been a miss in the NFL. Khalil Shakir is boom or bust at times. I mean, you bring in guys in the offseason, you pay them money that have done nothing all year. This is dark times at Buffalo right now. This is a interior look in and be like, all right, guys, we need to huddle around and figure this out.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions going on in Buffalo right now, especially after that performance against Miami. I think for the Miami Dolphins, you're finding some sort of, rhythm. And I think if they can continue with that, you can kind of have some internal conversations with Stephen Ross and say, can you give Mike McDaniel maybe another year? I mean, we'd have to wait and see what some people might think. I wouldn't necessarily know if I'd be necessarily in that. But I want to talk about the Bills receiving here, especially because he had Khalil Shakir have those 7 catches, but only 58 yards for that. And then the next is Keon Coleman with 46 yards and Dalton Kincaid with 37. And then Knox also had 37 as well. I think you have to have a lot of, they were supposedly in the race for Deebo Samuel. Supposedly. That was in the rumor mill. But obviously don't know if that really makes you necessarily too much better at the receiver core. But obviously it depends on what you think. But I think for Miami, though, a great win. Before we do go, I want super rapid-fire thoughts on this because I saw this report come out today. The team report cards, the owners are trying to get rid of them. And if you know what they are, basically rates like food, locker room, up to parness. It goes from an A to F grade. Super quick analysis on that. Do we like it being around, or do we also want to get it canned like the owners do?
I think it should get canned. I think the media overreacts every time it's posted at the end of the season. You see some random part of the facility that's an F or a C, and the media says, "Oh no, the best team in the NFL got an F in this," and it's useless at this point.
I mean, I kind of use it as an entertainment factor. You can kind of see. I feel like it should be kept around though. The owners just get stingy and they don't want fans to have some insider information, as you will. But sometimes you can align these grades with the record of the team, or maybe some attitude problems within certain players, or maybe why certain relationships aren't going the way they are. I feel like they should be kept around.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's insightful for not only players but for fans, so you can kind of get an insight on what's going on.
This means nothing. The Packers and the Broncos are frauds. I don't care about the report card. The Broncos didn't do nothing against the Raiders. Packers offense, with all the injuries, has nothing to build on.
There you go. Thanks for the nice little primetime rundown, Brett. But we will send it to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get some new guys in here, talk about the games for this upcoming week. Don't go anywhere as you've been listening to 2 Minute Drill right here on U92 The Moose. Welcome into segment 2 of 2 Minute Drill for this Week 11 special. Not really special, but just Week 11. But we're going into our game picks. It's always a fun time we can get everybody together to talk some NFL ball. I'm here, your host again, RJ Rice, alongside me, Matt Foley, Braden Laszlo, Brett Berner, and DJ McDermott. So we really only switched out one person. That was Dom. Thought we would have more of a switch, but I forgot to check. So you know what? We're still talking ball. It's all that matters. But let's go to this Thursday night football matchup where the New England Patriots will be bringing out their rivalry uniforms tonight as they take on the New York Jets in Foxborough.
Yeah, I'm going to be going with the Patriots. The Jets suck. They threw 11 passes, only completing 6. Don't believe Justin Fields had over 70 passing yards. And the Patriots are playing the best football that they've played in probably like 5 years. I mean, this team is Drake May is just carrying them. It feels like they've unlocked something in Trevion Henderson last week, and I'm just expecting the May to Diggs connection just continues and they run up the score.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Patriots here. I think that especially tonight is such a key game for them, obviously on a massive winning streak right now. And this game pretty much marks their entry to an easy stretch of their schedule here. So I'm expecting the Patriots to stay hot and get this win here at home.
Yeah, winter's coming in New England with those rivalry jerseys, but unfortunately for the rest of the week, hell is already frozen over because the Pats are 8-2 and back in first place in the AFC East and have, I believe it's now a 2-game advantage on the Buffalo Bills. Who knows what happened, but New England is back in full effect, so I'll go the Patriots by 100.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Patriots by probably 101 actually, but I think Trevion Henderson is going to have a big day today. Mike Vrabel came out and said that he was going to get a lot of touches today, which is pretty surprising with how much he likes Ramondre Stevenson, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be out for tonight. But I can expect a big game in checkdowns from Breece Hall. Maybe Justin Fields will get over that 70-yard passing mark by just giving it to Breece Hall on screens and stuff like that, especially with Garrett Wilson being out. But it won't be a close game. It'll just be some stat padding for the Patriots. So, I mean, the Patriots at home.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel saying that about Trevion Henderson made my day because he's in my starting lineup for fantasy. So we will see what happens there. But I'm still going to take the New England Patriots. And if they score 100 points by some magical way of wonder, let's just hope Trevion has a lot of points. But next, we're going into the Sunday slate now, 9:30, I believe. Yes, this is the Madrid game. The Washington Commanders taking on the Miami Dolphins.
The Dolphins are going to win by a lot. I mean, the last time I checked, the Devon Achane is projected like 28 fantasy points, and I've never even seen that in a while from a position player. But, I mean, the Commanders just suck. I mean, Marcus Mariota is just not that guy. They literally have no weapons, and they got blown out. And the Dolphins surprisingly got a good win against the Bills. So give me Devon Achane and the Finns to get it done.
Yeah, I think it's going to be important for Miami to build off last week's upset win over the Buffalo Bills, especially with a beat-up Commanders team. As you mentioned, Matt, Marcus Mariota is really not that good for this team, and it's shown. Only 3-7. If Jaden Daniels was playing, I think we would have a little bit of a different conversation here, but give me the Miami Dolphins.
Madrid, we're sorry. Give me Miami. I really hope Jalen Waddle has a big day because I have him in fantasy.
Yeah, Braden, I actually disagree with you. I think no matter what, if Jaden Daniels is playing this game or not, the Dolphins we're still going to win this game. It's just because of how bad this Commanders defense has been this year. They've allowed so many points, just allowed 44 points to the Lions, and a couple weeks ago allowed 44 points to the Cowboys, and then allowed 28 points to the Chiefs and 38 to the Seahawks. So that's not really a good outlook, especially when you have injuries on your offense like Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels. But I think, especially with the Dolphins' win over the Bills last week, I think Devon Achane's going to have a big day. I think Jalen Waddle's going to have a big day. And I think Tua's going to still throw his interceptions, but I think it won't matter because the Dolphins are going to get a win.
Yeah, I'll go with Brett on this one. I hope Jalen Waddle has a big day, and I think he will against this Commanders team. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins because they have one thing they haven't had in a while, and that is called momentum. So our next game will actually be an NFC South division matchup with the Carolina Panthers heading to Atlanta and Mercedes-Benz Stadium to take on the Falcons.
I don't even know who to pick in this game, but give me the Fighting Rico Dowdles and the Chubba Chubba Choo Choos of the Don Bruscos to get it done. Give me the Panthers. Both teams are very confusing. Both teams could either play like they're the greatest team on turf, or they will play like they are worse than the New York Jets and the Cleveland Browns. So give me the Carolina Panthers to get it done.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Panthers. I agree. I think both these teams this season have been up and down. It's more downs for the Falcons than the Panthers, but last week looked really, really bad for the Panthers. For that reason, I'm actually going to go with the Falcons here. I think that Bijan Robinson might get it going a little bit, but I honestly have no idea, so I'm going to take Atlanta.
Atlanta has lost 4 straight coming into this game. They're at home. The defense is terrible. Bryce Young is actually going to get time to digest a game, find his weapons down the field. I'll take Carolina. Vegas says -3.5. United 2 does not condone gambling. But I'm going against the odds makers. Give me the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Falcons in this one. I think they're going to get redemption from earlier in the season because I remember the Falcons were heavy favorites when they played the Panthers the first time out. The Panthers embarrassed them 30-0. So I think the Falcons kind of get it going here. I do hope Rico Dowdle has a good game, but both teams, this is the battle of bipolar teams, but I think the main factor for this one is going to be the Falcons' defense. I think they had one of the best draft classes in the NFL this year, hitting on Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr., and Xavier Watts with their first 3 picks. And I think those 3 guys have been showing out all year, and I think they're going to show out against a very iffy Panthers team.
Yeah, I will take the Brusco bus of the NFL and take the Carolina Panthers in this one. I mean, yeah, them and Atlanta, they're 2 very confusing teams, but I think Rico Dowdle and company will get the job done. Now on to I would say, way more entertaining matchup in Highmark Stadium as we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Buffalo Bills.
Give me the Bills to get back on track after a very embarrassing loss to the Miami Dolphins. I mean, the Bucs are just so injured and banged up and just haven't been playing great football. But I'm going to trust that Josh Allen and James Cook are just able to find a way to get the Bills back on track and try to cut into the Patriots' deficit in the standings.
Yeah, I'm also going to go Buffalo here. I know I talked about it a little bit last segment, but James Cook couldn't get anything going last week against Miami, but I expect that to change here against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I'm going to take the Bills, too. They're at home. One of Buffalo's main weaknesses this year is when their opponents are able to establish the run game against them. And unfortunately for Tampa Bay, they have still one of the worst rush offenses in the entire NFL. This has been dating back to the Tom Brady, Jameis Winston days. They've never been able to establish that run game over Arians, and it is now rolled over into Bowles' reign as the coach. So I'll take Buffalo, like you guys said, get back on track.
Yeah, with that, as a fantasy owner, Bucky Irving is doubtful. So I'm praying that he comes back because I think he'll give a spark to that offense, but I don't think he is going to come back. But regardless, I'm going to say the graphic. I'm going to take the Buccaneers in this one. I think both teams took a heartbreaking loss last week. The Buccaneers were fighting with the Patriots the entire time, and they kind of let it go towards the end. And then the Bills got upset by the Dolphins. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers in this one. I think they stay on the same track that they had against the Patriots, but this time they come out with a win.
Yeah, that's a good pick there, DJ. I will also go with Tampa Bay. I think in a really close game, though, I think for Buffalo, that Miami game really scares me a lot, and I think that lack of that true number 1 for Buffalo will ultimately end up costing them in the end at home, so I'll go with Tampa Bay. Next, we will go to it. Oh, my Lord, what a matchup. The AFC South, the Houston Texans and Davis Mills against the Tennessee Titans and Cam Ward at Nissan Stadium.
Oh, my God. Is this Davis Mills still?
Yep.
Yes.
Take the Fighting Boyens.
Luke Blaine, Houston Texans, Luke Blaine. Give me Luke Blaine to get it done. Luke Blaine is going to throw multiple touchdowns this game. He's also going to catch multiple touchdowns. Give me the Fighting Tennessee Luke Blaines.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Titans here. I think that
Who's that? Who's the Titans?
My bad. The Tennessee Luke Blaines. There we go. I do think that they'll get back on track. Obviously, this season's been really bad. They're still searching for their first home win, and I think it will come here against a really, really depleted Houston Texans team.
Yeah, C.J. Stroud out for this game, so I have every reason to root for Houston. This Texan team has a lot of great pieces around it. It's a great defense spearheaded by DeMeco Ryans, up-and-coming head coach. This offense is a lot of fun to watch. Davis Mills has already basically outperformed C.J. Stroud's entire year in one fourth-quarter comeback win. So I'll take the Texans.
I was going to say, if you asked me to pick this game after the third quarter of the Jaguars-Texans game, when it was 29-10, I would have said, hey, you know what? I think the Titans have a chance. But then Davis Mills showed up, and he ended up scoring 26 points in the fourth quarter. So I think he didn't keep that same momentum and go against a very, very bad Titans team and just get the job done. I think there's not much to say. There's not many playmakers in this game. I think the Texans get a really ugly W.
Yeah, I'll take the Houston Texans, or I should say the Houston Fighting Davis Mills against the Tennessee Fighting Luke Blaines. I think for Houston, I just don't like Tennessee.
I
think
two perked up white boys.
I personally just can't find any bone in my body that wants to pick Tennessee.
White boy culture is up right now.
They just don't know about the Fighting Luke Blaines yet and what they get.
Well,
Mike Gassey knows.
We'll have to wait and see if they go to 2-8 on the year. But our next matchup, NFC North, the Chicago Bears and Minnesota Vikings at U.S. Bank Stadium.
this game is really, really confusing. Another game of bipolar teams. I mean, I don't know what quarterback we're getting from Minnesota. If we're getting 9 or we're getting J.J. McCarthy or whatever's going on like that. But at the same time, they're going against Caleb Williams. So take your pick here. The Bears looked awful. They kind of benefited from Russell Wilson playing. So I'm going to go with the Vikings. The Vikings are getting back on track.
The Bears are due for a loss. Give me the Vikings.
Quick like that?
Yeah.
You're going 9?
I don't know who we'll see. We might see
9's a
9.
myth, dude. J.J. McCarthy is going to go out there, and everybody's blowing his out of proportion. J.J. has always been quirky like this. Whatever. Get off his back. J.J. has brought aggressiveness into this Minnesota offense, something that they did not have last year with Sam Darnold. I like how much McCarthy is pushing the ball down the field. I think Chicago, there's flashes. They always somehow find a way to win. Don't ask me how the Bears are 6-3 right now and are second in the NFC North above the Green Bay Packers of all teams, just behind the Lions. But, I mean, I do not. Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, it's going to be fun. I'll take J.J. and the Vikings.
Yeah, this is a really important matchup for both teams. I think if Minnesota loses this game, they're going to be 4-6, and they're going to be in last place in a very stacked division. So I think this is a must-win game for Minnesota, but they're not going to win this game. I think Chicago is. And do you want to know the main reason why I think the Bears are going to win this game?
Let me hear it.
They have won 6 of their last 7 games, and I think it will improve after this next win against the Vikings. Caleb Williams has been playing very, very consistent after a comeback win last week against the Giants, and I think he keeps up his hot streak against the Vikings.
Oh, God.
Consistency.
I was waiting for something like that. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears. Brett, simple question. Does JJ still meditate before every game?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good for your mental health.
Then I'm taking Chicago.
Take Step
give me
272. You'll learn about it.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good shout.
Shout out West Virginia Education System.
Shout out. Give me Ben Johnson and company to get this road victory. Next, we will go to the Meadowlands, MetLife Stadium, as the Packers take on the New York Giants.
Jameis Winston.
Yep.
Bring it home. I'm feeling a 4-touchdown, 4-interception, 400-yard game right here with a W. I mean, the Packers are just playing so bad right now. Jordan Love looks like the worst quarterback in all of football. And now he's going against a guy that's not afraid to sling the rock. Jameis Winston's just going to be eating W's left and right. It's just going to be like that. I mean, he's got white boy Magic Jackson Dart on the bench just coaching him up. I mean, I'm expecting. Trust me, there is white. Jameis Winston's basically the third exciting white. So I mean,
wow.
Jameis Winston, I'm feeling close to a 500-yard game, maybe 6 or 7 touchdowns, about 6 or 7 picks. I mean, just go Giants. Packers suck.
I agree. I actually think that this.
There we go.
Sore weather fan. The
No.
Packers are the best team in the
hear me out.
NFL. Micah Parsons.
No, hear me out. This game has Matt LaFleur disaster class written all over it. And I disagree with the Jordan Love take. Obviously, that's my quarterback. But at the end of the day, you have to call plays for a guy you pay $55 million to. And I expect to see that this game. And if I don't, I don't know. This organization has lost all of my hope. Matt LaFleur needs to give up play calling badly and let Jordan Love be Jordan Love.
Sore weather fan. That is actually pathetic, Braden. I'm sorry, but you were on here 2 weeks ago saying, "Oh, Brian, Packers are first in the NFC North. It's up right now in Green Bay. Everybody put their cheese heads on. We got the best defense in the NFL." And they face the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning Super Bowl champions, and all of a sudden disasters in Green Bay. The whole entire season's over. Oh my goodness, sounds like a Packers fan. Nonetheless, though, give me the Giants. I mean, I think this game embodies everything that Green Bay can't do. Jameis Winston is not afraid to push the ball down the field. Injuries have mounted up for the Packers offensively. Romeo Doubs is questionable. Dontavian Wicks is really about to be wide receiver 1. The Cody Burton agenda might be coming true. Tucker Kraft is out. You don't know what you're going to get from Christian Watson. It's just too many injuries. So I'll take the Giants. I think that Jameis Winston does enough not stupid things to win this game.
Yeah, I think the Packers do one thing great, and besides the Eagles, that's losing to bad teams. That is the Browns and the Panthers. And I think they continue that trend by losing to the New York Giants.
We got a clean sweep.
There is everything going against the Giants right now. They just fired their head coach. Jackson Dart is out. Jameis Winston is starting. But you know what? Jameis Winston, I agree with you, Matt. He's going to get the vibes up. This game is in New York. They're going to show the Packers why they are in New York and why they're going to win this game and why the Packers are going to keep trending downward. I don't know if it'd be season over just yet, but I mean, if there's a trend of the Packers losing to bad teams, then there are going to have to definitely be questions within the organization, within the coaching.
Bad teams. I don't know what bad team are the Packers facing. They're facing a team that should have a winning record. I mean, they're just bad luck.
No, this seems bad.
Shoulda, coulda,
All right, RJ, pick the Packers.
Yeah,
so
about
we
to
don't
say-
jinx this.
Well, I will say the New York Giants could be hosting their future next head coach in Jeff Hafley in this game.
I want Lane Kiffin.
It's fair. Okay, let's get out of fantasy land here, Matt. But I will say, I don't know if I want to save this graphic or not because the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love have been, or I should say Josh Jacobs has been basically carrying that offense, which, hey, in my pay league, I'm not complaining. But moving past that,
Who'd you
Who'd you
pick?
pick?
I'm picking the New York Giants. I cannot pick this Packers team.
Now we're going to lose by 40.
Because it's Jameis Winston. I can't pick against him. Watching him in Cleveland last year was just such a treat. I
Giants
can't.
fans get the legs on IR
But-
because Michael Parsons about to snap Jameis's leg.
But
in
let's
half.
get 3 touchdowns to Theo Johnson. Make my life a lot easier,
Amen,
shall
dude.
we?
He started
That-
my flex this week.
Oh, no way, Brett. Look at that.
Love Theo.
Well, we almost got
Wan'Dale
similar
Robinson
lineups.
might have 20 receptions.
We'll have to wait and see.
He might have 20
But
receptions.
speaking on it now, an
Jalen Hyatt breakout.
AFC North matchup, the Cincinnati Bengals travel to Acrisure Stadium to face the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Bengals. Joe Flacco continues to terrorize the Steelers. He did it the last time that he faced the Steelers earlier this year. Jamar Chase probably gonna have like 200 yards. The Steelers suck. Aaron Rodgers, Perk Rogers just isn't that good. Pittsburgh's receivers aren't good. Sorry, Joey. Roman Wilson just isn't that guy. I mean, it's going to be all Bengals. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. I'm feeling a high-scoring game.
Yeah, give me the Bengals as well. I think that if the Steelers' defense doesn't pull it together here soon, it's going to be a downhill slide, which it has been this past couple of weeks. But I think the Bengals go for the sweep here, and Joe Flacco has another monstrous game.
I'll take the Steelers. I'll go with my girlfriend's dad's team. They're big Steelers. They're big Steelers fans. They're getting ready to go to a game in a couple weeks. It actually might be this game they're going to. I'm not sure. But Pittsburgh, they're on the down. They're sliding. But I think they find a way. This one's at home. All these AFC North matchups, they usually find a way to split. I don't think Joe Flacco will have as good as a performance. Joe Burrow is about to come back for Cincinnati. I think they're going to be kind of focused on that. So I'll take the Steelers.
Yeah, the Steelers are trending downward, and we were talking about games that left a bad taste in our mouths, and I think the Chargers-Steelers games really left a bad taste in my mouth.
Just great taste in my mouth.
Just because of how bad the Steelers looked. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I thank the Steelers for looking so bad because of how bad Aaron Rodgers did because I faced him in fantasy, and that's how I ended up winning the game. So I'm going to go with the Bengals here, and I think Joe Flacco and Jamar Chase have another generational duo day where Jamar Chase gets 25 targets.
We should talk a little bit more, TJ, but I will go, you know what, I'll pick the Pittsburgh Steelers, but you know what, I want to mix of 2 things to happen. I want Pittsburgh's defense to get 2 pick sixes and Jamar Chase to get over 200 yards because if Cincinnati scores low points, Pittsburgh's defense gets a lot of fantasy points. I have both of them in my fantasy lineup, so you know what, one can only dream, but I will take the Pittsburgh Steelers in this matchup. But next we will go to a game in Everbank Stadium where the Chargers take on the Jacksonville Jaguars without Travis Hunter for the whole year.
Chargers, Jaguars suck.
Yeah, give me the Chargers as well. I think that last week kind of proved the doubters wrong. Obviously, the Steelers are not up to par like where they should be, but I think the Chargers are just the better team here.
I'll go LA. I'll take the Fighting Hardballs. I do think this is going to be a tough game. Chargers going on the road into Jacksonville against a very good defense that the Jaguars have. This Chargers offensive line continues to be banged up, but I think they'll find a way to attack the secondary, and this Jaguars offense is falling apart at the breaks here. I mean, now it's Trevor Lawrence is getting into Kyler Murray conversations. Is he really the guy at the helm in Jacksonville? But I'll take the Chargers to continue to roll.
Last time the Chargers played the Jaguars was in the NFL Wild Card round in 2023, and the Chargers had that massive massive kind of downfall where the Jaguars had a huge comeback to end up advancing. New Steeler Asante Samuel had 3 interceptions that game, but I think the Chargers get the job done this time. They've looked phenomenal, and the Jaguars, I think they're also trending downward, especially with that Travis Hunter injury.
Yeah, the Chargers having a massive positive record. I'm going to go with the Chargers over the Jaguars. Kind of preying on the Jaguars' downfall since Cleveland has their first-round pick. So we shall see how that goes. We'll go a little bit faster now. So we're approaching 21 minutes here. We will go with the 4:05 game, arguably the game of the week to some. The Seahawks and the Rams. And the Rams are debuting those rivalry uniforms, so we shall see how this one goes in SoFi.
Give me the Rams. I mean, they're playing the best football. Matthew Stafford is the MVP right now, probably. Him or Drake May. I mean, it's hard for people to stop this Rams offense, and I just trust the Rams defense more to get it done. And just to really, I expect Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams to all have big days. I mean, but the Seahawks aren't no slouch. They're playing great, but I trust the Rams more. I trust Sean McVay more.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks here. I know we talked about them a lot last segment, but I really like the type of ball they're playing right now. They're also undefeated on the road, but this Rams team, as you said, Matt, is very, very good. I think this game's going to come down right to the wire.
I'm going to take Seattle, too. It's basically going to be a home game for the Seahawks in SoFi, so the 12th man is going to be out because nobody cares about football in Los Angeles. But nonetheless, Matthew Stafford is playing at that MVP level, but Sam Darnold has this offense clicking. There's so many ways to throw it on. I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game, but I actually trust Mike McDonald and the Seahawks defense to be able to get those couple crucial stops near the end of this game to give Seattle the win.
That was my key point to look out for was McDonald's defense versus McVay's offense. I think that is going to be something that you're going to have to look out for. Stafford has been playing out of his mind, but how is he going to be able to handle those safety blitzes from the Seahawks? We will see. But in saying that, I think that Stafford is going to handle those blitzes just fine, and I think the Rams come out with a win in this one and kind of get a head up on the Seahawks in the NFC West.
Yeah, I will also go with the Los Angeles Rams. Thought I was going to be the only one to pick them, but I will go with them over the Seahawks. I mean, the Seahawks obviously looking really great so far, but I think Matthew Stafford, he's been playing really great football. I think he continues that against the Seahawks. Next game will be obviously in the same division, the 49ers and the Cardinals.
Niners.
Yeah, give me the Niners.
I'll take San Francisco.
I'm going to take the Cardinals here. I'm going to take Jacoby Brissett and Trey McBride. Marvin Harrison Jr. is out, but I think it's going to be an oddly high-scoring matchup.
Yeah, DJ, I can't join you on that one. I will take the San Francisco 49ers and the Fighting McCaffreys. Next, this should also be pretty rapid fire. Baltimore going into Cleveland.
Ravens. Browns suck.
Ravens.
Yeah, I'll take Baltimore, too. Still alive in the North.
Ravens.
I will also take the Ravens. Not even close will be my best guess. We will now go to Chiefs-Broncos at Mile High.
Give me the Broncos. The Broncos normally pull off this game. Normally, it's usually a split between these two teams. Broncos usually get it done at home. Mile High normally plays a difference. But the Chiefs are playing good ball, but I'm going to trust Bo Nix to flip the coin on the right side, and he plays like Josh Allen.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Denver here. I think that they've really turned Mile High into a fortress this year, especially 5-0 record at home. Chiefs haven't really played that great away from Arrowhead, and for that reason, I'm going to take Denver.
I'll take Kansas City. I'll take the bad guys. I think this Broncos offense has put up too many bad performances in a row. I don't think they're going to be able to figure it out in time for Steve Spagnuolo coming into town. I'll take the reigning champions. I'll take the Kansas City Chiefs. And they're not ready to give up their crown in this division.
I agree with you, Braden. I think the biggest factor is that this game is not in Arrowhead. It is in Denver. So I'm going to take the Broncos in this one. I can see this being a low-scoring matchup. I think both defenses are going to do a phenomenal job, and I think it's going to be a close win for the Broncos.
Yeah, like we mentioned before, not an Arrowhead is probably the main reason why I'm picking Denver in this great defense, so I will go with the Broncos. Next, we will go to Sunday Night Football. Brett, I know you're excited to pick this one, and at the link, I should say, with the Detroit Lions and the Philadelphia Eagles. I know where DJ's going.
Lions by a lot. The Eagles cannot score points. I'm probably going to end up eating those words next week because they're probably just going to decide that they want to throw the football and not just push each other in the butts. So give me the Lions and give me Jared Goff.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that the Lions will win this game pretty handily unless the Eagles decide to throw to A.J. Brown. But I think the Lions get it done.
Oh, boy. Well, I know somebody's going to save the guy, so I'm not worried. I'm going to take Detroit. This one is on the road. The Lions have actually favored well against these big-time matchups on the road, besides the NFC Championship against the 49ers a couple years ago. Think back to that kind of kickstart win in Arrowhead against the Chiefs. They performed well. This one's in the wink. I think the Lions offense has gotten a spark with Dan Campbell now taking over play calling from John Morton. At least last week. We'll see how that operates this week. But I think Detroit's offense is going to be too much. I don't think Philly is going to be able to keep up. I think the Legion of Whom for Detroit will do just enough to get the Eagles off the field a couple times. So I'm going to take Detroit. Send it over to my buddy DJ.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a quick FYI. The Eagles' defense is ages better than whatever the heck the Commanders' defense was last week. The Lions will not have as much success as they did last week.
Can I tell you something, too? The Lions' offense is leagues better than the Packers' offense.
Then I guess we'll see. And I mean this with I mean this with the most sincere.
I detect no lies.
I don't either.
Me and DJ just said complete truths.
No lies.
I mean this with the most sincere heart. I hope that this is the first time out of 2 times that the Eagles see the Lions this year.
I do too.
And I hope the second one is in the NFC Championship. But I think the Eagles take round 1 in the link. I think that is the biggest factor. I think the Eagles get the offense going after a very, very slow performance against the Packers. But I think this Lions offense kind of slows down against this Eagles defense.
Brad, I just want to prepare you. You're going to get frustrated at the TV when they line up in the tush-push formation and you see them jump off and you see them false start and then it does not get called. Just preparing you.
Exactly.
We're not
frustrate you.
Aiden's not going to give him a chance to get to 3rd and 1.
That might be some off-season
They'll
content.
do it from 3rd and 3 too.
Yep, that might be some off-season content, talking more about the tush push. I will take Detroit in this great offense. I just don't see Philadelphia, especially with how they don't throw to A.J. Brown. It really frustrates me as an A.J. Brown fantasy owner. Not really excited about it. So I'm taking Detroit just for that regard by itself.
I'll remember all of this next week.
You know what? If A.J.
I backed my word. I said I would not be shocked if that happens, and I eat my words.
Yeah, because Travion went off on my bench last week, and then this week it's going to be A.J. Brown. I'm going to look like an idiot for benching him.
I hope Devontae Smith scores. He's on my fantasy team.
I don't. Still in the A.J. Brown reps and targets. But Monday Night Football, God, I wish flexing was still a thing. We'll go more rapid fire on this one. Dallas and the Raiders.
Genty, 200 yards.
Yeah, give me the Raiders.
What? Okay, give me Dallas. I'll take America. I'll take the bad guys this week. I took the Chiefs earlier. I'll take Dallas. Geno Smith, I'm sorry, buddy. He's a real legend, but you've gotten that age peak. You're done for, pal. So I'll take the Cowboys offense.
I was about to say, I personally won't be watching this game, and everybody knows I hate the Cowboys, but Geno Smith is going to make this Cowboys defense look phenomenal for some odd reason, and I'm going to take the Cowboys in a really, really bad primetime game.
Yeah, I will also take the Dallas Javonte Williams. Hopefully Javonte Williams goes off. That's, a sign, please, Fingers crossed, but I'll take the Dallas Cowboys. We thank you for tuning into this 11th edition of 2-Minute Drill this year. We will be back next week, I believe, for another episode, so do not go anywhere for that. So we shall see you next week, and you've been listening to 2-Minute Drill right here on U92 The Moose.